And good morning, everybody. We're not intending to rock any boats here this morning on this Tuesday morning. We're just going to get together, open the doors to the Dome as we always do on a Tuesday with an educational program, and probably try to keep you informed, enlightened, and entertained until 1 o'clock today. Hopefully we can keep you around for that long. We'll do our best. Joining me this morning is the new boss over at Northwest State Community College, Dr. Michael Thompson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jim.
Good to have you here.
Happy to be here.
You know what? I have heard so many things, and they're all good. How's that? Huh?
Oh.
You know, that's the amazing thing. You have whenever you're out and about, you hear, oh, the new guy's in town. And then you run across somebody else, and it's, well, you know, what about the new guy? Okay, you know how that works in a small community.
Yeah, very much.
So far, all I have heard is, boy, the new guy's in town. What a great situation we have over at Northwest State Community College. So welcome to Northwest Ohio, and welcome into our program today.
Well, thank you very much. I'm enjoying being in the area, settling here, living here, and thank you for welcoming me to your show, Jim.
You know what? We hope that this will be first of many. Your predecessor joined us on a couple of different occasions, and it was always good to have him with us, and I hope that you'll find time for us here maybe at least once a year to pop by and give us an update and let us know all the great things that are going on over in Archbald, because everybody in this area, I think, is very proud of the facility that you have and now are in charge of. Let's go back in time just a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Let's start with the basics, because most people around here, you're in Northwest Ohio. You've come now to the heartland of America with all the small communities that we have. The first question always asked of anybody that comes in is their history. Where did it all start for Michael Thompson?
So it started for me. I grew up in Philadelphia, and my education was Penn State University. So first of all, clear it up. I'm not from Michigan. I've never been to school in Michigan. Right? I watch Ohio State games. It's only one game a year that you have to worry about with me. And then I went to the University of Kentucky for graduate school, and eventually landed what started the path this way is I had a job at Northern Kentucky University, which is in the Cincinnati area, and it was a job where I, as a faculty member, taught a lot of first-generation students, some Appalachian students, and a lot of people that had no idea what college was like, and it was so much fun helping people navigate that college process, get that degree, get that first decent job in a family, see their life change. Yes. I'm hooked. I'm in. Education that makes a difference in someone's life. And then, in my well-planned world, I was going to retire there and live there and settle there until my daughter moved to Cleveland and started having grandchildren.
Sure.
And the ride back and forth was, I should just get a job up there. So I really linked to the mission of community college, helping people, because I'm a first-generation college student.
I was going to ask. I thought that in reading your bio, you were the first in your family.
Correct. My dad, I'm fourth generation in this country, and my grandfather had an 8th grade education and was an accountant for years and years.
Sure.
My father, a high school education, and he brewed beer with Schmitz of Philadelphia for years and years.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and then and so it was, go to college and do something a little better than we did. So off I went to college. So I really have a heart for people that want to use education to help themselves. Yeah. So community college is that place in the United States. So I was at Cuyahoga Community College, where big place, 26,000 students. But I was president of 2 campuses. The last one, 6,000 students, which is just about the size of Northwest State. So I am very used to being able to walk around and talk to people and do things through relationship and be in the community and get to know the Rotary, Kiwanis, the Chambers, and visit faith-based places, giving a sermon every now and then, just out there kind of doing the good work of the school. So for me, Northwest is that natural next step of running a college and not just being a campus president. So.
Yeah, explain to the folks, because they don't, I think, unless you are familiar with Cleveland and Cuyahoga Community College, you don't understand how big this facility is. You mentioned it, 26,000?
Oh, 26,000. In the heyday in 2011, I think it was well over 30. So the community college in Cleveland serves inner core, serves the first ring suburbs, and serves the deep suburbs. I was more out in a very diverse area, both economically, demographically, faith-based, and a lot of older communities that were really caught during 2008. They were already struggling, but these are auto-based communities that were struggling to find a new way. And very much my leadership role was about how to connect with partners to help create jobs, and then how to train people to get to those jobs. Yeah. And that a lot of healthcare, because Cleveland Clinic and U of H University Hospital is in that area. A lot of manufacturing, we'll call it smart manufacturing in Cleveland, and a whole lot of transfer. A lot of people going those first 2 years, saving that money and making it a little easier for the next two. So Northwest represents an incredible opportunity to do those same things. Incredibly wonderful. This is the draw for me. Sure. Yeah, I do the demographics. I've traveled the state. Just the manufacturing base of the Northwest, 6 counties that we serve, is absolutely astounding. These are family-based companies, 3rd and 4th generation, who are really committed to their community, trying to keep that business alive. We've got a whole agricultural community that has been thriving and is needing and wanting agribusiness and precision agriculture. And we have a professional healthcare kind of industry that's kind of growing at the same time. And we do a lot of worker training too. I think yes. I am really impressed for the volume of the size of the school. We do, in terms of grants and training, more than schools 2, 3, and 4 times our size. In connection with companies, the Spanglers and the Souders and the Campbell Soups and the Johns Manville. It's absolutely incredible. So hidden gem. I mean, as soon as I saw it, I looked at the demographics, like, oh, I'm all in. This is a great place. I want to go there. So, yeah.
It had to be, it always is, a difficult situation when you go through the interview process and you're one of several candidates to start with, and then we trim it back from there, and then we trim it back from there, and then we eventually get down to 2 people who we think are very qualified for this job. That process has never changed. That's always not stress-free. Okay.
True.
There's a little stress and anxiety that goes into something like that. How was the process of finding your way over to Northwest Ohio? Was it fun? Good? Enjoyable?
It was enjoyable. I think there are kind of philosophies about how to do this, and
sure.
One of the philosophies is that it's all about survival. Do everything you can to make that cut to the next one. Say and do everything you can to get to that final slot. Say and do everything you can to get to that job. Yeah, I'm not that guy, and so this is one of those long time in prayer, thinking it through. And this is how I felt. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be who I am, as I am today and as I will be tomorrow. If that's the place I'm supposed to be, they will see that. And so Northwest State ran a process that really led to that. And so I was my authentic, genuine self. And if the things I do and who I am are what Northwest State needs, I'm in. And that it's really it's not about survival and resumes and interview tips. It's about fit and timing. Am I the person at this time to help Northwest State take the next step in their journey? Maybe 20 years ago I wouldn't have been the right person. Maybe sure. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, I'm not. But right now, I'm the person that's chosen. I'm the person that's meant to be in this space at this time for us to move forward. And it's just a pleasure to be here.
I guess there's a logical follow-up right now to that question. Why? Why are you that person at this time?
I think there has been a shift in the community college movement, and community colleges have to kind of pivot and kind of shift. Sure. And some of the things that we're doing kind of fit who I am or what I've done. So one is community colleges used to be built on access. Y'all come, and there's going to be an ever-flowing supply of high school students coming our way. And I don't care what the processes are, make them jump through 35 hoops because they got no place else to go. Sure. The reality is with Western Governors University just recently made an entrance into the state. And if you've not seen a commercial with an L yet, you're not watching your TV or listening to your radio, right? So students have choices. And so we are very much about providing individual-based service and helping students get on an educational plan. We know all the data about students that wander around educational institutions, accumulating debt, not knowing where they're going, getting a degree that doesn't lead to a job. We are very much about a transformation of processes to make sure students find a plan, stay on the plan, complete the plan. And that is part of my background and who I am. I think the other part is to do community college well today, you have to have partners. You can't do it alone anymore. You can't just take some money from the state, run around, offer some courses, get a degree. You have to have industry partners. You have to have civic partners. And I think the Cuyahoga experience, which was both community college and very political, because it had a public levy every 5 years. You had to go to the public and get approval for. I've been really well trained in every day is a day you prove yourself to the public, not just the people in the hallways that you talk to. So I think I am the person for this space and time because I enjoy those connections. I enjoy finding those connections of different partners, of somebody's bringing a couple hundred new jobs to town. How can we gear up to train those people to make sure local citizens get those jobs, not people driving from Toledo and Fort Wayne? Sure. And you know, how to help particularly people that are struggling financially. How do we help them get to anything? A call service job with 9 weeks training, you know, a year certificate for medical assisting, whatever it is. How do we reorient ourselves to get there? So it's this individual service as well as this community partner connection. So it just, you know, my background kind of leads to that, and I am very excited to do that work.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are very excited to have you here for the hour, but we also are very much responsible for making money around here. You know how that works?
I do.
Every now and then you have to step away, play a couple of commercials, maybe a song, and then we'll come back. I have Dr. Michael Thompson with me today. He's the new boss, the new president of Northwest State Community College, and we're looking forward to chatting with him for the rest of this hour here on theCUBE.
Morning, I'm Gail King with today's
Good.
Off to a good start?
Yeah. My temper is, I have to temper myself because I can just talk, right? So we're on radio. Keep it in shorter bites. Move it along, Michael.
No, you know, that's the neat thing about what we do here, okay? And that's the thing that I enjoy. I started in the radio business in 1976, okay? And I love the radio business. And I was a newsman, and I was a morning disc jockey, and I was all kinds of different things. But I loved radio back then because you had the ability to bring people in, talk to them, you know, quiz them a little bit. It wasn't a 30-second sound bite. I'm not sitting here with 2.5 minutes of what you just said. And, well, what do I want to take out of that 2.5 minutes? How do I grab this? And, you know, we had the ability. We did a half-an-hour newscast in the Dayton area every morning on the radio. Okay, and we were the #2 morning show in town because they wanted to hear what happened. You know, that's really what it was. And now we've transitioned to where we are right now, where you know, there's none of that going on. And the people that are listening to this really enjoy hearing, you know, opinions, hearing what they have to say, listening to what you're telling them at this point in time. So the more the better for me. How's that? We're great.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this because you just mentioned.
Yeah, you're doing a Defiance College commercial. I love that. But it's interesting you say that's a partnership for us, right?
Yeah,
you come to us and we connect up on nursing and a lot of other degrees. So that's the new college experience, Jim. People don't go to college like I'm going to go to a college. People typically experience at least 2 and sometimes more. They might go to Bowling Green, but they're going to come to us in the summer to make sure they finish on time. Or they saw us in high school with those high school college courses. So it's a partnering today. But you make this, I am quite at home, Jim. You're making this very comfortable. I appreciate it.
Wonderful. That's what we want to do.
Jason Deach Collision and Customs, where if we can't fix it, nobody can.
A new era is
We got Michigan here this year on this radio station. You want to talk about taking a little heat?
Oh, am I going to take some heat for saying I'm not from Michigan today?
No, you're okay. It's just funny because the Buckeye fans, my entire family are Buckeye fans, okay, other than me and my sons. They have 3 sons, and the oldest one was born in Alabama when I was in the radio business in Alabama. So he's a Crimson Tide.
Ah,
okay.
Yeah, that's hard to get out of the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, even though we moved back to Ohio when he was 7 months old, okay, he was born in Bama, man.
Yeah,
He's
roll
a Bama
tide.
boy, okay?
Yeah, roll tide.
So he's into that. My middle son actually graduated from Virginia Tech as his undergraduate work, and then he ended up with his postgraduate work at Case Western. So he was up at Case for quite a while.
Well, there's, yeah.
He's teaching at Ohio. He's a researcher and an instructor at Ohio State nowadays, and he hates every minute of that campus. He loves the job, but he wears these Virginia Tech colors.
Oh, and didn't Virginia Tech beat Ohio State a couple years ago? Oh.
So there was, it was a whole lot. He had a wonderful night that night.
Yeah,
Everybody else there. So, and then my youngest one basically is a Michigan fan. So,
Oh, you got it nice and spread.
I do. And they're.
Well, I'll tell you, I think when I talk to people, okay.
I've got a commercial that's got a bad date on it, and you get Andy to look at it. And I'll be right back.
Not a problem.
Sounds good. Thanks, man. So yeah, my entire family on my parents' side, and they were all big Buckeye fans. So we were total disappointments. And I'm an Ohio University boy. So I'm a
Bobcat. Yeah.
All right.
I think I'm not surprised, but the strength of Ohio State in this area is impressive.
Yes.
And you know, some people went to Ohio State. I get that, but it's. I see Detroit Tiger fans. I see Green Bay Packer fans.
Yes.
It's really, this is a place where you can kind of pick and choose the places that you want to kind of visit or be with. So, but Ohio State seems to be the unifying. That's the one.
Oh gosh, yeah. And don't ruffle the feathers of the Buckeye fans.
Right.
We've been an Ohio State affiliate on our sister station B Rock 100.9 FM for 25 years. Well, the problem is they come up and they'll affiliate with everybody. I mean, you've got 5 or 6 different radio stations in this area that carry the Buckeyes. Okay, well, there's nobody carrying Ohio State, nobody carrying Notre Dame. So the management choice this last year was, it's harder to sell Ohio State because there's just too many.
Oh yeah,
doing
yeah.
Okay, so they dumped Ohio State over there and put Notre Dame in this year.
Good move. In this area, demographics, good move.
Good move.
Catholics love Notre Dame.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And there are a number of Michigan fans that have no way to listen to the Wolverines at this point in time. And this radio station never had an affiliation with a college team, so we started this year with Michigan. So, oh my gosh. To that radio station, how can you ever be doing something like that? You're dead to me now, okay?
What's the Woody State line? It's like we're out of gas on the bus, and we're like 3 miles or whatever it was, a mile from the Michigan border. It's like, push the bus. We're not buying gas in this state.
Yeah, exactly.
Not happening, boys.
That's exactly it. And so it's hilarious. You know, it'll work. Rick Springfield here on the Q 96.5 FM, and I've got some tickets to see Rick Springfield over at the Fulton County Fair that's coming up the first week of September, and I'll be giving those away next week. So tune in next week if you're a Springfield fan, not Springsteen fan, but Springfield fan, and you might be winning tickets to go see Rick at the Fulton County Fair. We'll give you a pass to get into the fairgrounds and also a couple of tickets to go watch the show that night. So be aware, next week we'll give those away. Dr. Michael Thompson with me right now from the Northwest State Community College. Doc, let's talk a little bit about education. Off mic, you made a very interesting comment to me, and that is that when I went to college back in the ancient days of the 70s, okay, from 72 to 76, most people decided I'm going to Ohio University. I went to Ohio University. I went there for 4 years. I graduated, or I didn't graduate, one of the two, because I had several friends that went that way, and then went back to the workforce and did whatever they were going to do at that point in time. Today's student doesn't just grab one university and stay with it, do they?
No, it's in fact the thing that we think, which is an 18 to 24-year-old leaves high school, picks their college of choice, ivy colored, ivy covered, brick walls, and pays their 4 years, and then graduates and gets their dream job. That is a very, very small group of people, frankly. So it's a partnership, and so it usually starts in high school. This state is very generous about high school students being able, if they're college ready, to take college classes for free and get that college under their belt so they get some confidence. And then we all know the fiscal pressure on college. So students come to community college where we, nationwide, we're 42% of all college enrollment because we're high quality. And you're not going to pay 4 years of a higher debt. You're going to narrow that down to 2 years. Community college is usually something you can nibble with your family checkbook and not have to dig into a massive debt. So, and then we see people, and this is the interesting part, average age for a community college student is higher 20s. Ours is 28, 29. So most of the people that come to Northwest State are family people. They're working full time. 85% of them are part-time. They're not interested in going full-time. They're interested in an education that fits into their life so their life can be better when they get done.
Sure.
And so we're reorienting, because that old model is how we used to think about college education. But the new model is maybe you'll spend 2 years with us and then have a complete aligned transfer to Defiance College in nursing. That's a program we are well aligned with, and we're very happy because we need nurses in this area. The Bryan Community Hospital is one of those places that I visited. Great place, and we have to have 4-year baccalaureate nurses, more of them. But simply we can't grow them. It's not like corn and soy. You can't just throw a seed in the ground, nurse shows up. So community colleges have a huge role to produce associate degree nurses. 100% of our last 2 nursing classes graduating in December, 100% passed their professional exam first try. Wow. And what's so interesting is that's the same exact test a bachelor's graduate takes. They're right on the floor, talking, doing all the same work. But that 4-year eventually is necessary. So we're helping people keep that cost of education down, but high quality. We're really focusing on that high quality. So it's been a real treat being in this area, kind of seeing some of the things that we do. But it's a partnered adventure. It really is. And we see workers that come to us, and a company, Spangler might say, hey, take these 3 courses. We want you to take these 3 courses because, financial management, accounting, and business, because we want you to move into our payroll department. Yes. Okay,
yes.
That's your plan. We're going to teach you those 3 courses. Spangler's probably going to pay for it, and you're going to have an employee that just got a raise and is moving up in the company. They don't need a degree. They just need the specific courses they need. Or maybe it's training in Lean Six Sigma or some other ISO. We'll come in and do the training. So people see college kind of through a lens that's part of their age process. Mm-hmm. We see college as anything that provides a credential that helps people get to a better life. And whether that's you're 18 or you're 80, that's fine with us.
Sure.
Our job is to be the place that makes that doable, because some of the 4 years are kind of locked into how they do things. We have to be the flexible one to make it work for this community.
Yeah.
So
you have assimilated extremely quickly. How long have you been in Northwest Ohio now?
Let's see, March. Moved in in March,
okay.
and love it here. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah.
But you're dropping names, okay? You're involved.
Places I visited, things I've done. It's so funny, and I want to give props to Sprangler because we did a STEM camp this summer,
okay.
And so we're helping basically middle and then early high school students envision themselves getting a STEM degree, a science technology. Why? Yes. Because they're eventually going to be at Spangler or North Star.
Sure.
They're going to be in those places. That's how we're going to sustain this area. And it's so funny, because it's like I don't want them to go out of their way to make a tour. I just climbed on the bus with the students and showed up in the company with my suit on, trying to put candy canes into the little thing, kind of absorbing as I went. It was great fun. But that's how you do it, right? Yes. You just you climb on the bus and go, and that's how you get around. You get out there and do it. So.
Has that been Michael Thompson forever? Is that just basically your MO? This much energy and this much enjoyment every day?
I think I've always been a person of high enjoyment, and and that grew out of my faculty and my teaching. I think now that I've learned the importance of the community connection work to the actual overall process of how a community college needs to grow and move forward. I love it because I've kind of grown into it. I think it would be good. But before it'd be like, well, we do our college stuff, but we should be out in the community every now and then and kind of put a PowerPoint up, tell them what we're doing.
Sure.
No, the new community college, the modern community college really understands that all of those community connections have an extreme importance. I might be at a Rotary meeting and somebody has a cousin that might need to know about something, and they drop a name to me and I take it back. They're going to get a phone call that next day. Somebody else might have a problem in financial aid. I'll bird dog somebody on it. We'll go fix that problem. Sometimes it's an employer who did not know we have internships. I get that name to our internship guy. 3 weeks later, we get a student involved. So that community work is in this area is essential to connect people so they understand who we are and what we do. And it builds partnerships. I think overall we put partners together and then we can do more than we can each do individually. So my joy is just watching us connect and helping people. So bottom line, it's very simple for me. 192,000 people live in the 6-county area. There's 77,000 families. About 10 or 11% are in poverty, and there's a whole other chunk struggling just slightly above it. And the numbers are clear. Poverty is $22,500. Living wage is $30,000. Our job is to help people use education to move from a space that's in and around that poverty line up to that 30 line.
Sure.
And then take it from there and move it up closer to a number like 50 or 52, which is called family sustaining wage. Our job is to help people have a better life through education. Now, what that does is every time a family goes from economic cardiac arrest to family living and then eventually family sustaining, they become active members of this community. They're contributing. They're paying taxes into the system, not on benefits. They are coaching little league teams. They're involved in their church. Their children are doing things. That's called strengthening community. And ultimately, the goal of community college, it's community.
Yes.
Right. So our job is to strengthen the communities that we live in, to the very people. So I'm happy if anybody gets an education any place, but I'm really happy when that education leads to someone getting a job, getting a house, having family life, and being able to do that in this geography. That's what's critical to me.
Yeah.
So
I was discussing yesterday with a father of a young fellow who's thinking about going to college now. He's a senior in high school, and they went on a college visit last week. And I asked him, it was a small Division III school in Ohio, okay? And we won't name a name, but we'll stay away from that. But I said, so, what's it going to cost your young fellow to go to school at that college next year? And he says, well, it's really funny the way that this works anymore, because he says, it's $58,000 a year, okay? And at that point I choked and went, holy smokes, I spent $10,000 for 4 years, okay, in the 70s. But there's discounts. But the school that he's going to has a good enough following and a good enough reputation and a waiting list. So the discount's not going to be as good at that school compared to this school over here that we're going to take you to next, okay? So in the 4-year college environment that we have nowadays, okay, where we start at almost $60,000 a year and then discount backwards somehow to get these people here, compared to what you're doing right now, I don't see how anybody can afford to send their students anymore to a facility like that. So at some point in time there has to be, I would think, some change on that end as well. The Ohio States of the world, the Ohio Universities of the world, the Miamis, all the small colleges that are out here, because the average person walking the streets of Ohio and Bryan, Ohio right now can't afford to go to a school like that. They don't. It's impossible. We've priced ourselves out of a 4-year college in a lot of ways.
And in some cases, the public 4-year version is getting to that point for a middle class family.
Yes.
And if you have a second or a third child in that process, you've just multiplied that
Yes.
situation.
You
So
have.
so community college is designed to be high quality,
Yes.
but keep costs down. And so, if you're just the simple numbers are in public tuition, it's about $15,000, and that's before moving away and paying room and board. That's for a student, 2 years. That's your tuition savings. Those courses that you take at the community college, they're transferred very directly today. There's a lot of state policy. You're not wasting your time. You're not retaking things.
Right.
And so, for parents, I think they often see community college as an alternative, where I see it more as a partnership. You can start with us and take 5 courses, 6 courses, save some money. And then you want to jump, go ahead.
Sure.
I just want you to be successful. But 4 years at a high price is difficult. Now, if you go 2 years with us and transfer to one of those strong, private liberal arts colleges, you'll get a good job when you get done. They have a great job network. It's
Yes, they
a
do.
highly valued education. But be clear, most of those colleges are looking to community colleges today because they see our people with an associate degree as top-notch prospects.
Yes.
They're proven. They have college under their belt. They're motivated. They know where they want to go. So they often get better scholarships than if they were when they first looked at that school.
Sure.
When they're an unproven product and all they have to go on is a GPA, a test score, and some high school.
Yes.
They see a proven college product, they'll put more money on the table. So you actually will save money on the first 2 years. You'll actually save money in the final 2 years as well because they'll pay more at that point because you said there's competition. Well, you've shown yourself a proven product. So I think parents, part of today's discussion is just helping parents see that there's multiple opportunities to try to keep that cost low and maintain high quality. I think that's the deal.
That's
And I just want students to be successful. Ultimately, it isn't about going to one place or another. I go back to the mission statement of the college and what I will say over and over again. We're here to strengthen communities. Ultimately, this is about finding people a way. So if you have a lot of debt hanging on you at the end of that, it's hard. It's hard to pay that off. You're kind of in almost a purgatory economic space for a decade before you start to whittle that down. And then you have a couple of kids, and suddenly you're looking at their college expense, and so we're here to help with that. I think it'd be a good way to look at it.
It's an amazing. I just can't. Why are colleges like Ohio University so expensive nowadays? What's driven that cost so dramatically? From 1972 to 76, again, I went to school for $2,500 a year, room, board, the entire shooting match, okay, out the door, $10,000. Why have we gone in 40 years from that level to where we are now, where Ohio University is $25,000 or so? I've got a nephew right now that's at OU. And my brother's paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 a year for his education, 10 times what I paid 40 years ago.
And well, first of all, I'd love to have like a BG or a UT president sitting next to me to
Sure.
have that conversation because I don't want to speak for somebody else's world.
Right.
I will mention kind of 2 things. I think in the competition for college students, colleges have become very astute at marketing the experience.
Right.
We'll call it the Disney kind of marketing style. And so they're marketing an experience for their students. Well, that's all about dormitories with, maybe a little rock wall and these foreign trips, internet. And these are all good things.
Yes, they are.
But they cost money,
Yeah.
right? So some part of the cost has gone up is that colleges are competing for enrollment, so they're building more higher end facilities and college experience. The second piece is that states have been disinvesting
Okay.
in public education. So where you used to be able to get more money from the state of Ohio, you're not getting as much money. Now, what happens? You're passing that cost on to the student.
students,
So you say,
sure.
why did the cost go up? The cost is probably not going up as much as the share of the cost going up for the student to pay. And we're running the numbers right now. It's one of the first things I asked for day one, and we're working through it to get to it. But our rough cut of the numbers are students at Northwest State pay about 20% of the education that they're and our job is to keep it that way. And that includes scholarships. You know, we had over 300 students receive over $660,000 worth of scholarships last year. We have a very generous community. So again, I'm not trying to promote community college over a 4-year, but they've had to pass that cost on. And I think we're trying to do everything we can not to push tuition, but still keep what we do at high quality. Yeah. And so that's that's kind of the two big factors. But I'd love to have a 4-year. I mean, I was in 4-year world and let the presidents in that environment talk about their space and what they do and how they're doing it. So I don't want to speak for them or speak against what they're doing.
No. It has nothing against what they do. The education is wonderful.
Yeah.
The schools are wonderful. The training that I've always thought that the young people that came through school, first, you do have to learn some sort of a skill. There has to be some promotion of education involved towards the direction you want to go. Mm-hmm. But the secondary education like this, the higher education that we're talking about is, to me, more beneficial for them to all of a sudden sit in a dorm room and look around and see a young fellow from Cleveland, a young person from New York, a person who might be from out of another country, okay, all of a sudden now you come from a little town like Bryan, Ohio, or Troy, Ohio, where I'm from, and the very first week on the block, in the new block, are a whole lot of people that think a whole lot of different things that you've ever thought or been told as you've grown up, and that education was as beneficial to me as the knowledge that I gained through the 4 years of my $10,000.
And as a product of Penn State and the University of Kentucky, I would say very much true. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very true. And it's important to get a perspective beyond the community that you live in, because you're going to be probably in a company or a place where you're going to be connecting with people from different cultures and different places. You could be on the same team with a couple people from London and a couple people from Rio and somebody from Frankfurt, and you're meeting digitally trying to design some product together. You better get up to speed quick. It's more than a language barrier. You have to kind of talk through. So yeah, I admire each of us have kind of role and purpose would be a look at it, and ours is serving the community, right? Yes. That really is the bottom line for us. So.
Wonderful. Dr. Michael Thompson, my guest right now. Again, we need to step away for a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to wrap up. We've almost spent an hour with the new boss at Northwest State Community College. We'll end up with the last 10 minutes or so right after this.
Thing you can always.
All right. What do you want to come?
Here, Doc. You know, we have a boss who's listening. I'm sure his name is James Bellamy. He is a very tough taskmaster. You will find that out, that while you think you run the college, Mr. Bellamy has a big say-so in it, because he is the marketing guy over there, okay? And I've got tongue definitely in cheek right now, Jimmy, okay? I'm not trying to hurt your position or anything, but there are a couple things that we really need to talk about, and I have enjoyed our conversation. And again, I hope you'll come back again, because it's been fun, and whenever I get a guest like you, an hour just is not enough. People, Phil Lennon at the hospital said we're going to do a medical program once a week. How are we going to fill up an hour on the medical issues every week? And it's amazing how the time just flies through in an hour or something like that. This hour's flown as well. You have classes starting again in fall here very soon.
Very soon, August 22nd. I'm actually, Jim, teaching a class.
Are you really?
Yeah, my PhD's in political science, so I'm going to teach a little American government.
Oh, wow.
Got a mid-year election coming up. We got some things happening, so I know very well classes start August 22nd. My syllabus is done, and I'm cranking out those that first module right now. And we're seeing a lot of people coming to us right now that are in that process of getting to that, registering for that first class, finding their plan. We're really about finding that plan. And the other big thing is we're celebrating 50 years. And so that celebration will kick off with an October 3rd convocation. We'll have a very public convocation, and I'll talk about our 4 kind of big things we're doing. I've already mentioned a few here. Getting students on an educational plan, connecting much more stronger and intentionally to the community, looking at access, and access for us means fixing our processes so our students don't have to waste a lot of time when they're connecting to us, and being a first choice employer. We're working hard at being a first choice place of employment for people that come. So I'll talk more about that, but that's going to be a public event that we'll do, and that's a kickoff of our 50th. For our listening audience, if you're a Northwest State alum, Jim Bellamy, our goal is to get 200 alumni stories this year.
Oh, wow.
Little videos and interviews. We want a story or two from every year that we've existed. It might take us 2 years to get them, but we'll get them because we think the changed lives of our alumni, who are 82% of our alumni live in this area. We know we want to hear from them, and I want to hear from superintendents and parents how we can serve them. So the 50th anniversary is very much about listening to the great stories of the past and planning for the future at the same time.
Oh, wow. Well, it's hard to imagine that it's been 50 years already. They go quickly.
They do.
I have 64 of them under my belt right now, and I don't know where the last 50 went. They went so quickly. But I'm hoping there's another 50 in front of me, too. That's what I'm after. So put on your visionary hat right now, okay? Go out another 50 years from now. Where will a community college be 50 years from now, do you think? Much different than what we are right now? Or is it impossible to even speculate that far?
Yeah, well, in one sense, the whole world will be different in 50 years from now, so it's kind of hard unless you're embedded in the Sci-Fi Channel, and then it scares you to death when you look at it. So their worlds always start with post-apocalypse, right?
Yes.
I don't start there. So I look at it this way. Education will probably become very lifelong in the sense, and very individualized at the same time. So I see people having wearable or embedded technology in them with individual study plans about how to improve themselves and connecting. And those students will need people and connection and relationships, but the technology will make it so that you will have a constant kind of flow of here's what you need to learn next. And it won't be in the box of courses and seats and degrees. It'll be much more tightly connected to the life that you're leading, I think, as we move forward. And hopefully we can get past some of the competition and other stuff and get to just serving people all day long with what that is. And so somewheres between technology and bringing things more just in time to people for what they need to learn, and breaking it into bites that are more connected to their life and not in the way we look at it. Yes. I see those as all things that are going to happen as we move forward, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, whatever that is. Yeah. So I often, when I do essays and work with groups of leadership, ask that question. And it's interesting because some people look at that, it's like that just seems so different. Like, what are we going to look like? Bottom line, we're going to look like whatever we need to be to serve this community. I mean, we'll be here. We'll serve this community. Whatever that need is, we will help meet that need. It's our job to orient ourselves to meet that need. So when I look ahead, I get excited. We're going to be a little better than we've been doing it, and we'll change as needed to make sure that the families in this community are sustained. That's the deal.
That's phenomenal. Well, I really appreciate your time. Our hour is pretty much up. One of these days, you need to come back with your political hat on, okay, with the government hat on, and I would love to discuss and get your opinions on where we are right now, because some would argue that we have some things going on right now that we have never ever had in the past, and others would argue that this is just business as usual from the time that our founding fathers started to where we are right now. The chaos has been pretty much there that entire couple hundred years that we've been an entity as the United States. So I'd love to sit down and pick your brain a little bit about that.
Happy to do that. And you know, we have a mid-year election coming up.
Yes.
So maybe sometime after that election, we can kind of look at the results in this area and nationwide and just kind of say, is that telling us anything as we look ahead? That might be a good conversation.
I think it'd be a wonderful conversation. So put it on your books there. How's that?
I will.
Dr. Michael Thompson is our guest and has been our guest today, and we wish him all the best at Northwest State. Thank you, Michael, for being with us today.
It's a pleasure, Jim. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve the people of this area.
Fantastic. Back into Classic Hits. I've got Mary Leatherman coming up next hour. We'll talk jobs in the area and Classic Hits all the way until 1 o'clock today here on the Q 96.5 FM. We try. How's that? We try. That's the reason I had to get back into this, doing this. I love doing this. This is fun. And I think most people have found it fun. You know, they're tired of you sitting here with this blaring song down all day long. And we'll use a clip here and a little bit of clip there to be able to get to know somebody and feel somebody. I think they're wanting that. I think we're heading back that direction.
I appreciate today was a balance of, I'm the new guy, so I know it's a little bit about who's the new guy.
Yeah, sure.
That needs to happen for a while, and then I'm just nudging that focus. Here's the school. Here's where we're going.
Exactly.
Here's what we want to do.
Yep.
It's not selling. It's more people understanding what they can do with their lives. I think you can put it so.
Entirely.
Oh yeah.
Entirely. Fantastic.
This is great.
Good. Well, wonderful. And seriously, I would love to have you come back over after the midterm elections.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Because I'm not the Northwest president. I'm a political science guy.
Yeah.
To talk about, you know, both sides are going to claim a victory depending upon, I mean, they're already in Columbus if you're following that race. Yeah. Both sides are claiming this great victory, and they're going to go bat it again like Ali Frazier in November.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see. I think you're really spot on. There's a piece of the world that's moving the way it used to.
Yeah.
But technology clearly has impacted it, but I phrase it this way. Every now and then there's a little revolution in the political system. You know, it happened in the 30s with Roosevelt and the New Deal. It happened again with Reagan in the 80s. We had a little revolution. And the real question is, are we doing the normal cycle, or is this one of those revolutions? And what is it? What's it going to look like? Well, we look back and go, that was one of those. And I think we're in that time where we're not quite sure.
No, you're right.
When you put the 2 points out there, yeah, you can look at professionals that they don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's why it's fun to talk about, because we can tell listeners little signs to look for to see where we're headed.
Yeah.
I think it'd be helpful.
I think it'd be wonderful. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Happy
So I'll work through Jim. Okay, we'll set up a time once you get to that point.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have you in here just to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Happy to.
Okay, good.
We'll
Very
talk
good.
more. 50th year, so you know I'll be back in the spring.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
You heard the call. We want to try and find alumni stories and start just like little 60-second captures of those, and so I don't want to pass the 50th year without capturing that, so people actually, I'm thinking ahead 10 or 15 years where we can look at those little videos, and really see the impact that we've had, and that's very inspirational for my team. And they don't see that.
No, I'm sure they don't.
They need to see that.
I'm sure they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
good.
A number of successful folks and a number of lives changed out of that organization.
Oh yeah. And I think personally, I'm a big guy. There's some things we can do better.
Oh sure.
And so we have to listen to make sure they happen.
Who's behind door number one, Michael? How's that? Yeah, I agree. It's almost impossible. Thanks, Mike. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Michael. Come in there, lady. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Well, he's not a kid about trying to get around.
It's tough, isn't it, huh?
My dog, a groomer out on Mulligan's Bluff Road.
Yeah.
She had to take Defiance and Williams County Line Road to get there.
Yeah.
I'm so used to coming in, but you can't take 6, get down 127. So I backtrack and get on 6, not thinking I had to turn at the gas station. Kept going. I'm like, oh my god. All I want to do is get to Brian. Now I know when I pick her up how to do it.
Okay. All right. That's good.
Of course, she's probably ready to be picked up.
Oh yeah.
She's all little forget her.
Is
Done
she
that
not?
before.
Is she not a groomer? She
Yeah,
not?
groomers call me and said, "Do you forget something?" Oh yes.
Oh, look out! That's not good.
I'm gonna pick her up.
Yeah, you don't want to leave her over
She
there.
can hitchhike. She don't have thumbs.
No doubt.